Okay, hi. I wanted to talk about a lot of things today. And actually, if you go through this entire video, I'm extremely busy and short on time, but I wanted to make this vlog today because let it not be said that I didn't say or do anything about the evil, injustices going on in the world. There are many. I've been through, more than any other person alive in very few years, throughout my life from the beginning until now. And I just wanted to talk about today quickly about the Google situation. There very briefly, I'll make another video about that. But I'm actually very upset about what has happened, about how the founders of Google, who they're not perfect people. They're not like they do have flaws. They're not perfect examples of how a human being should be, but it's still very inspirational what they've done and what they've achieved, and how much they have served me in my personal life. It's been a great search engine. It's been the best search engine, and they've been improving it. I thought that I didn't know that they were still around, and they were like at the head of Alphabet. So it was good that they were still around. But now that they both stepped down, especially Larry Page, I don't see a good time ahead for myself and for other Googlers and for people who just want to know the truth and who want to search information, find out what's going on. Because this guy who is now was the CEO of Google, Pichai, and he was not the CEO of Alphabet also. Now he has too much power. And I don't think he's such a nice guy, to be honest with you. I don't think he's that good of a person to deserve even being CEO of Google, let alone both Alphabet and Google. So I don't think that this is a good step thing. I think this is a very bad thing. It's one of the worst things that's happened to me. There's a backstory to this about how this happened. I can get into it right now, or I could make another video. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make another video, but it's horrible to me what has happened, and they've just been taking the wrong steps since Pichai became CEO of Google in 2015, September or August. In 2017 and 18, there was this huge, in 2018 actually, this huge thing about Google, how it doesn't pay women equally for equal work, and how there's been a lot of sexual harassment, and how the people who were accused of sexual harassment were just given settlements by Google and all this kind of stuff. And I never heard of any of this stuff before Sundar Pichai became CEO. So I'm not surprised that he's fostering a culture of sexual harassment, because it's in India, and India is one of it's known as the rape capital. Actually, the rape capital is probably some country in Arabia, like Saudi Arabia or UAE, which is very repressive and has no free speech. Where I'm actually making this vlog out of, and you should be very grateful for what I'm talking about, the stuff I'm going to talk about in this video, because that stuff isn't available anywhere for even if you pay money, let alone for free. But I know that this video is not going to get many views because I don't have a very expensive and nice home and expensive camera and gimmicks and flashiness and all style but no substance. So I don't think people are gonna go for this video. But what can I do? I mean, I make such great videos, but I get like 50 views. That's if I'm lucky. In 2014, I used to get like 200 views on per video, and that time things were very open. We didn't have such a dictatorial president. Well, he was a very bad president, Obama, but he wasn't the kind of dictator and fascist that Trump is. But the I'm not surprised if Pichai is fostering a culture of sexual harassment, women not getting equality at Google, because in India, women's rights are repressed very much. sex like is repressed a lot. They have it a lot in marriage. Like they overpopulate the country. The country is badly overpopulated. So they're having a lot of sex, but only like married sex, not like premarital. And they're having so much sex that they're just making babies and 8 kids per family, and they're just doing it and doing it and doing it, just doing it. And but if you wanna make a woman pose nude over there, or if you wanna have Playboy magazine over there, they won't allow that because there's very limited freedom of speech and it's a socialist government, with the biggest socialist government in the world. No one talks about these things. And that's why, even though I'm an Indian, I don't trust other Indians. They don't like me either because they can just tell that he's not a socialist or something. He doesn't support socialism. And they just don't like me for a lot of reasons. My skin color. Because if you're not skin color isn't brown, the Indians won't like you. If you're not black, you're not hip, you're not cool. Because that's how they are. They call it brown supremacy or whatever, but they are like that. So I think it's very horrible news that Pichai has become the CEO of Alphabet and Google, because I actually like this company and what they're doing, and there's a lot of potential and a lot of scope for improvement. They have actually wronged me a few times, like I made videos and they removed them, and I'm speaking freely. So it's not all like rosy and stuff, but there is a good side to it. Like I would say that 78% of it is good in this company, and there's like 22% some problems are going on, and now it's just going to get worse. There's an Indian at the helm of these very important companies. All your searches, all the freedom of speech, I think it's all going to disappear slowly, slowly, and no one's going to say anything. People are just going to be like, it's a colored person, so that he didn't do anything wrong. And if you say he did, then you're a racist. It's going to be like it was during Obama's time. Like all the wrong things he did, nobody said anything because he was a colored person. And all the wrong things Trump is doing, no one's saying anything because he's a religious person. So if you're a person of faith or a person of color or both, then you can get away with anything. And if you're rich and come from a rich family and they educate you, and then you can do anything with that. So you can even be as bad as you want to be. No one's going to stop you. Already so many bad things that happened in Google, like the way they were removing my videos, the way they shut down Google Plus, which was very good. It was a very good social network with very little bullying and a lot of like people just speaking the truth and being secular, like that. But it was shut down. That was a bad move. Some of my videos were removed on Google since 2010. There was 2 videos removed, and then in 2019 they removed another video of mine, and that was very bad. So I'm not saying it was all perfect, but I think that Sundar Pichai is not the right guy to lead Google, and I think that it doesn't make any difference to the founders, because if they've already made such a step of entrusting their life's work to this guy, I don't know. It says something about that judgment that although they're very brilliant people, they are making a mistake on this. Like brilliant people do make mistakes too. So, and there's a backstory to this. I won't get into that now. I'll make another video about that. But for right now, I want to talk about Michael Savage, Donald Trump. Um, Michael Savage has been meeting and interviewing Trump since 2011, or maybe even prior to that. Him and Trump, like Mussolini and Hitler, because Michael Savage, he bashes gays, and he calls it the gay mafia. He talks about as if the only problem is people who come out of the closet, and there's a mafia and all that stuff. He says he bashes communists a lot, but actually he's both gay and communist. He wrote a poem, in the 70s, I think, or in the 60s, I'm not sure, about how he wanted to kiss black men's hands, and you can search this on Google if, Sundar Pichai doesn't, cut start censoring Google, which could happen because it was really very uncensored and there was a lot of truth on Google, and I benefited from it a lot over the years. But now I think that all is going to taper down and it's going to go downhill. But you can Google it; it might still be there, and There's much more proof that Michael Savage is secretly gay, as if his show isn't proof enough. Like if you look at it, there's nothing sensational, like which is like liberal or nothing liberal about it. It's highly ultra conservative, and it's like you know no race is ever questioned, no religion is ever questioned, and he pretends to be an Islamophobe, but that's a different thing. I'll get to that later. But so he's wildly gay and in the closet. And he has a red star on his site, michaelsavage.wmd.com. And you know what the red star means? If you Google it, it'll tell you that it's a symbol of Marxism, communism. And this is the thing that he bashes most of the time, and he calls people red diaper, doper baby, and all that stuff. But he is one himself. This guy's a very horrible, radical person. Like like Hitler's people used to accuse people of doing what they were doing. They were doing something, they would accuse people of doing that, and to kind of like avoid blame, getting the blame for it or something. Then that's what these people do, Trump and Michael Savage, and he blames all the social ills on liberals and liberalism. I'm not saying liberalism is perfect; it's a perfect theory or a perfect ideology. It does have some flaws, like which I can get into now, or I could, like, for example, I think racial equality is a bit, it's not such a good thing, because if you look at it in practice, liberalism is supposed to not be the same as socialism. It's supposed to be very different and like, an enemy of socialism and communism. But if you look at racial equality, I mean, if you look at colored people in the world, like, you look at the countries they've set up, a lot of them, like a huge percentage of them are either communist or socialist. So if you're gonna give them racial equality, you're just basically opening the door to socialism. So that's a flaw in liberalism. And there are others like religious liberty. I mean, some religions are so horrible to human rights that if you know, give people the freedom to practice those, you're just gonna screw up things. So that there's some flaws, but there are also some very good things about it, like secularism, capitalism, which I'm not saying capitalism is flawless, but it's a heck of a lot better than socialism and communism. And I think Donald Trump and Michael Savage are both, severely socialist. They bash the the left a lot, but they are leftist in that sense. But they're like religious leftists, you know what I mean? Like ultra religious and supposedly right wing, but actually socialist and religious socialist, or what they call theistic communists. So he says, Michael Savage says liberals are mentally disordered and liberalism is a mental disorder. And he's also revealed on the show that he manages his depression not by going to therapists who he claims are liberal, which I found is untrue because most therapists I talk to are not that liberal at all. They're very conservative and they're very religious, and even the atheist ones, they are very much like religious people. So he manages his depression by cycling. So who's the mentally ill person, repressing his feelings and just managing them instead of confronting with them and dealing with them. So I'm not saying you shouldn't cycle, or if you feel bad, just keep feeling bad. But if you're just gonna cover up your bad feelings with some positive action, I mean, then the bad feeling could just come back, or it's just gonna get repressed. But I'm not saying you shouldn't cycle. It's if you want, you can cycle. If you want, you can hike or whatever, do something else. And so Michael Savage is a fanatical theist, and he pretends to be an Islamophobe, but he's what I call a fake Islamophobe, because during the Obama administration, he was talking a lot about how bad Islam was, but now he supports Trump, and Trump doesn't say anything against Islam ever. He acts like only radical Islamic terrorism is a problem, not moderate Islamic terrorism, or moderate Muslims don't pose problems. They act like that. He acts like that, and this guy Michael Savage supports him, and he's a defender of a fanatical defender of evils like religions. And he says the world would be worse without religion, which is not true. It would be much better. The world would be even worse without religions. The problems would be even worse in the world without religions, which I don't think is true. I think the world would be much better off without religions. So he's a raving misogynist. He questions that women shouldn't be. He said stuff like women shouldn't be allowed to vote because they're too emotional. They shouldn't be in the army because they're not strong enough or that they're not rational enough. And he said stuff like that, and he's supported Trump. Trump has beaten and raped his wife. He's raped a lot of other women. He's done a lot of misogynist things, and these guys support Trump. So you can tell that they're misogynists as well. And Michael Savage, he lies most of the time. He lies a lot on his show. Most of the things he says are lies, and he says stuff like liberal women, and he acts like the media is liberal, but the media isn't that liberal. That's not. If they were liberal, that they would be telling a lot more truth than they do. But he will act like everything is the problem because of liberalism. Liberals have made a big problem in the world out of everything. Okay, that's about all I wanted to say about Michael Savage and Sundar Pichai issue, and I'll make another video now because this has gone very long. I have a very slow upload speed. It's a joke actually. I'm sitting here, there are people more inferior than me governing me in every country in the world, and I'm sitting here with fucking one, or I don't know, 1 megabit of upload speed or 2 megabits, something like that, and it still costs so much. And to get the higher, better speed, you have to pay like a lot more money. So that's the downside of living in a shitty country where only our lives matter and everything else doesn't matter. But I didn't choose this life. My parents did. That's a different topic for a different video.